arm for another point against Tennessee, wouldn't you? To not
Yes.
have to have that thing strung out as long as it was and to go ahead and finish it.
Yep. We had opportunities, and I watched it the whole flight back, just on repeat. But there were more than just one moment. I mean, there were middle sets that you need to take advantage of opportunities and finish sets. The first set, I mean, we came back. The thing about this team is they executed at a high level. So it's getting them to perform that way consistently. So then we're not in the deuce set situation.
What's it about you and fifth sets though? Seems like it's peanut butter and jelly every time we
Oh,
talk.
like me personally?
Every time we talk, you guys
Yeah.
are going to a fifth set here.
Well, I love putting our team in certain situations. So maybe I mastermind that. It's all in the game plan. As if you watch our staff, we're always sitting out there, change this play. Our team grinds, that's for sure. And I think the growth and the development part of this is to finish sooner. I mean, if you look at sets 2 and 4, we handled it pretty well. So that's when I look at the whole match, it's like if we could do that more consistently and execute at a high level, not put ourselves back and then come back and get ourselves back in the match. It's like do that all the time, and then you're not in that.
I think consistently we talk about getting to that mindset of finishing and all of that. I guess what does it take, or they're getting there. So, or do you see improvement in that? I guess
We always see improvement, and this team's personality alone, their competitive confidence. That's where we're at. That's what needs to grow, and that comes with experience. And we have to create those situations at practice, and it's next to impossible. Every coach in America tries it. You consequences, loud music, silence, just changing the atmosphere, changing the score of the game. There are ways to do it and manipulate it, but to put them in a circumstance where coming in to serve off the bench, you know what I mean? You can't just sit a kid out of practice for an hour and then say, hey, go serve. And it's 14-13 right now too. So just figuring that stuff out, those dynamics, but it being a point where it doesn't even matter. We talk about, what if you guys didn't count at all, but there's a running clock? That's a different feeling. A basketball game has a running clock. We don't have that. There's different ways to create pressure, so they learn how to manage it.
You kind of talk about that, but can you teach killer instinct, or is that just something that each player is either born with or not?
I think you can teach it. You can teach it in how you train, and you can set up drills so that that's one kid. And it's not always Holland for us. It's putting our freshmen in those situations, putting our defense in that situation to stop someone. So it really just depends on what we want to focus on that week. This past week, we focused more on defense because we were focused so much on offense because our block and defense wasn't great. So you set drills up that way, and you put it on certain individuals or certain systems that they need to respond.
I know the saying is defense wins championships, but I'm an offensive guy, so I think offense dominates. Are you getting?
So funny.
Classic Oklahoma.
I know, right? We just like to score 90 and don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Are you?
No defense needed. Not necessary. I actually made that comment once
Okay.
when we made it to the Final Four at Kansas, and our volunteer was a libero, but his team at practice lost, and I go, defense wins championships, and it crushed him. So it's funny that you said that.
So with that said, are you getting the offensive output you need aside from Holland hands? I mean, on a consistent basis, or do other players need to step up?
We don't have it yet, and you can see that in the stats last night. We need more balance, and that's trusting the system. And Camille, she feels it, and she knows. So now it's just putting all the pieces together and putting that back on us as the coaches. And I told her that. As the setter, as the quarterback, you run the system. It's on us to put people in there that are going to score and execute. So it's there. I mean, we have moments of it. It's just got to be consistent.
Back on the road Friday, I think, with Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. We're at Arkansas, yep, and then we go to Missouri. Both those teams, again, different styles, but they're aggressive. And that's what we talk about our team on the road, for sure on the road. These teams are going to battle. You're all Division I athletes. Records are records, but in volleyball, it's all about the matchup. Washington beat Stanford in 4 last night. Okay, that's a matchup. When you look at the scores of any match, you can tell that it's about a matchup. So in volleyball, that is, you have to show up and play every night and execute the game plan.
Anything about Arkansas that is concerning other than the fact that it's a matchup?
They're aggressive. I mean, they're going to attack, and I think their offense will be more of a threat for us because we need to be able to defend and manage the players that we need to. Missouri's They came off a tough match against Kentucky for sure, but they've had a good preseason into SEC play, so they are very balanced. So both of those teams are going to be different in their own right, but at the same time, it's always going to be on our side and how we're executing the game plan.
You talk about your bench a lot on the road. How important is it to like kind of create your own energy?
It's huge, and they do that, but it's like we need to carry that personality onto the court in all of those moments. Feed off that, but also be that. So if you come in off the bench, you're bringing that instantly to the court. You don't change who you are. You're always who you are, no matter what the situation is.